Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Calm Mind Podcast. Episode 7, a special number because we're joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, True Green 7. How you doing, mate?
7, True Green 7. That's my name.
Back in business.
What's funny is that you'll hear the same joke in the next episode. Tell them why, Toby.
Because we recorded this episode last week, but then there was a new Scarlet and Violet trailer, and we were very eager to talk about it. So next week, we'll make the same joke, but it falls flat on its face because it's actually episode 8. And even better, to make up for that, we've got our lovely guest, the wonderful Patterrz. Hello, mate.
Hello, it's me, the wonderful guest. How are you boys doing today?
I'm pretty good because yesterday we had that awesome trailer revealing a bunch of Pokemon for Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and we've been anticipating that for a long time. We've been wanting to talk about something interesting in the podcast because all the other episodes sucked. They were not interesting enough. But no, because we really want to put something in the thumbnail. That's literally the only reason we want to talk about Pokemon, so we can have an interesting face in the thumbnail. And it's going to be hilarious when we randomly generate a Pokemon, it's going to be a Pokemon that we actually want to put in the thumbnail.
Really cool.
Instead of the new Pokemon that we want to put in the thumbnail. And
Patterrz, man, you've been watching these, right? You're a listener. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate it.
I'm a diehard listener. Every episode.
We've
apart from the last one.
been like, here's this really cool gimmick for the podcast. We're going to randomly generate a Pokemon, see where the conversation goes. And that's the main thing here at the Calm Mind Podcast. And then whatever that Pokemon is, we'll put it on the thumbnail. And you're thinking, cool, we'll get like a Charizard. We'll get like a Mewtwo. We'll have something to really sell the podcast. Our first episode was Parasect. We had a Ferrothorn. We had what do we have? We had an Ursaring. We're having nothing sellable. So but now with the Scarlet and Violet, we can bring people in and hopefully they'll listen. And the first people they're gonna hear are you, me, and Ron, and it's a great combo.
Why don't you just clickbait it and put a different Pokemon in the thumbnail?
I told Toby.
Also, that's a spoiler. If I'm clicking onto the Calm Mind Podcast, I don't want to be spoiled on what the Pokemon is 15 minutes before I hear about it.
I told that Toby as well.
Okay, but then the challenge
as a listener, by the way, as a avid fan, a rabid fan, I would say, actually.
A rabbit. This is our live feedback session where we're just going to get grilled on how we're doing podcasts wrong. It's early days for us.
Okay,
go on.
No, that's it. That's
you
my
didn't
only
have another thing.
That's my only gripe. That's all. Everything else is perfect.
I'm usually a fan of the people that we have on as a guest. Like Liam was the first guest, and I watch him all the time on stream. And Patterrz is also an example of a Poketuber that I actually watch on stream. I'm lurking every other day, which is rare. So you should be honored.
I am honored. I feel very good about that. But it also makes me scared about I wonder who's lurking at any point because there could be anyone in there.
Yeah,
the True Green seal of approval is a big thing.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I don't know if I've talked about this in the podcast. I may have talked about this in the unaired episode, but in the secret episode that was lost. But I'm a huge fan of reaction videos. So whenever that's one of the reasons I am a huge fan of Patterrz as well. So it's any Poketuber who makes a variety of reactions, talks about their opinions. There are a lot of Poketubers that I literally don't even watch, but whenever they make even a Q&A, I just want to hear their opinions on things, and I'll watch the Q&A. It's weird.
No, I get what you mean. You don't really necessarily care about the main content, but hearing different people's opinions on different subjects is always interesting, or at least I think so.
Yeah, especially people who have relatively similar perspective, at least because we have technically the same job. It's interesting to know where our opinions differ, which is funny because Patterrz is a Poketuber that I watch a lot of reactions of, but we have completely different opinions on things. Especially let's say Pokemon music. You're probably the Poketuber who has done the most Pokemon music reaction streams or videos, and I do not agree with a lot of what you with how you rank your music, but it's enjoyable.
To be fair, a lot of people agree. I think I did one for Sword and Shield, and that made people very angry. More dislikes than likes, actually. I think.
What was the controversial opinion? What was the thing?
I don't know. I said the rival music is bad, and I didn't like it. And then
he's not a fan of Marnie's theme, for example.
Yeah, I thought Monty's theme was meh, not even bad. I just thought it was not that great. People were going hog wild about it.
You may know of this, but I hate the opinion of meh. I hate the word meh. I don't like it when anybody just like doesn't even consider giving an opinion on a thing and just says it's eh. So that's like the worst thing you can say. Mid is the worst thing you can say.
I think that's the most insulting, right? Because it doesn't make you feel anything. You're like, I have no strong opinions one way or the other. This is simply a thing that exists and there's nothing more to it.
Mid is like it is a new insult now. And I don't know, I say new, like I might be really behind because I'm like, slowly pushing up towards 30 and I don't know the lingo. But like,
30, Toby.
I feel like mid is like a legit insult. It's just like, oh, that's so mid. If someone called my content mid, I'd be gutted. I'd be like,
yeah,
right.
Mid is what you say when you don't even you can't even be bothered to finish a word. You're
you
like,
can't.
You want to finish so quickly. It's like you don't even want to finish a sentence. Yeah, that's how little you care about that subject.
The content is so bad, it's not even worth giving the time to be passionately angry about something. That's what mid is, and it's like such a slap in the face.
It's even worse because mid needs context. Anything that's average is relative to the things that are good and bad. That's within the same tier. So it's like mid doesn't indicate anything to me. I don't know what your opinion is on this. It's just, and that's what's even worse.
The funniest thing is we've just guaranteed about 20 comments on the YouTube video of this upload.
This episode's mid.
This episode was mid.
Episode. Well, I'll blame that on Patterrz though.
No, please.
No, honestly, dude, I'm a huge fan as well, just in that, like, I don't watch a lot of PokeTuber content, actually, also in general, but you come up with ideas that I just find so fascinating, and you edit in such a wild way. Do you do all the editing yourself still, or are you working with an editor?
Yeah, I don't edit my videos as much
Your
anymore.
editor is amazing. Your editor is amazing. Just compliments to them. But just generally, the ideas are fantastic. You did a video where you had voice actors of Pokemon choose your team, and I just
that was really fun.
What a wonderful idea! It's so good. It's so creative. It's new. It was brand new as well. Like I hadn't seen that before.
I was really worried about that because I didn't know if voice actors of Pokemon would be like clickbaity enough. But since I had the voice actors from people's childhoods reenacting their characters in the video, it was like a splash of nostalgia, and I'm really glad that video in particular is doing so well because I put a lot of effort into that. Good. And it's just nice to see something that you actually put a lot of effort into doing really well, and people like being like, oh my god, this is actually a really good piece of content, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, I appreciate that.
I would say that Patterrz is the most like Poketubery Poketuber, and I don't know if that's an insult or not, but like
it's in the title of a lot of my videos.
Well,
so.
Yeah, you're the one who publicized the whole like title of Poketuber, but I mean, which is funny. Now here's the thing that I want to get to the bottom of. So you were kind of the first person to put like Poketuber in the title in terms of reactions and stuff, and I actually have told Patterrz this story, but I don't know if he remembers. I didn't tell Toby, and I want the audience to know this story. So I, like 3 years ago, I released a video, like the 20 like best Pokemon videos on YouTube, which included like some amazing videos. An example of which was Jaden's first like animated Nuzlocke, and in the comment section of that video, Patterrz was like, "Wow, this is a really cool video. I'm gonna have to check some of these out." And then a few months later, he releases a reaction to Jaden's first Nuzlocke titled like Poketuber reacts to Jaden's Nuzlocke or whatever, and that sparked the whole like Poketubers reacting to Jaden and a lot of things. So I mean, is that really what happened? Like that's the order of the events, I think.
Ron, I bookmarked that video so I could go back to it and find stuff to react to. Yeah, no, seriously, I looked at that and I was like, there's some good material in here. I need to keep this in mind. I need to come back to that and have a look again. But yeah, that was one of the reasons that I reacted to Jaden's first video, and that was kind of the thing that started the reaction thing, which a lot of people don't like, which is fine. But it kind of blew up my channel a little bit. It did really well, and it helped out a lot. So,
were you worried about using the word Poketuber in a title, for example? Because I feel like if you'd done that like 6 years ago, 0 views, because we're still working out even what a Poketuber is, and like today it's like, but you did it and it worked. Were you worried about that as like a marketing thing? Like if I put Poketuber,
well, I figured out that just saying I'm gonna react to this doesn't mean anything, because you need some kind of like, I don't know what the word is, quantifier to
stamp of authenticity on you.
You need to be an authority, because I saw so many other YouTubers doing like Graham Stephan. I don't know if you guys know Graham Stephan. He did like a millionaire reacts to financial videos, and it's like, you want to know what a millionaire thinks about this because it's a financial video and he has a lot of money, so he has a different or more educated perspective on that subject. So I was like, oh, I'll do the same for this. I'm a Pokemon YouTuber, so I'm gonna react to this from my perspective of knowing a lot about this and doing this kind of full time.
I'm like kicking myself because I noticed this trend. It was Legal Eagle did it for like does that for law stuff, and
like
there
lawyer
was
reacts to
Dr.
reacts to.
Mike does the medical stuff, and I thought, well, this is where my thinking was like, okay, so this is the new meta of YouTube. You're an expert in something, so you react to like TV shows, sitcoms, that kind of thing. And I was like, oh man, I'm part of this kind of old wave of YouTube. I'm a PokeTuber. I'm not really an expert in anything.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, Toby. You are the expert on like law stuff.
Yeah, but you made the connection. You're like, no, you're an expert in Pokemon. So PokeTuber reacts to Pokemon thing, and it seems almost like silly at first because it's like, well, of course PokeTuber reacts to Pokemon thing. They're PokeTubers, that's what they do. But I guess the Pokemon fandom is so big and the term PokeTuber is so rooted now that like, and you've been doing it for so long that it's like, oh, you're not just someone who sort of like uploaded 2 videos and no one knows who you are. It's like you are actually a PokeTuber. Not that those people aren't. Hopefully they will be one day, fingers crossed. But like, you are an authority point on that. And I just think it's really smart and also kind of brave to just like put that in there because it's like you get rewarded with it for sure.
Yeah, that was literally the catalyst of my channel kind of blowing up. I also became friends with Jaden through that as well, which is really cool.
Great.
And it was just a really cool thing, and I'm glad that it ended up paying off. It's awesome.
And now there's like a lot of niches within like PokeTuber. Like people aren't just going to put PokeTuber now in the title. Sometimes they'll put like Pokemon Nuzlocke, World Champion if you're Wolfie.
Yeah.
Pokemon Theorist. I think, Toby, if you do a reaction, you should say Pokemon Theorist. You can do Pokemon Artist.
Theorist reacts.
Yeah, you could do that. You mentioned Jan does Pro Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
I think Publicliff did Pokemon TikTok star, which I loved. I thought that was really good.
What sucks is that I can't really do like Pokemon Artist because like I'm not a artist at Game Freak or something like that, so it's like I feel bad if I write Pokemon Artist.
No, you could still do that. You could definitely still do that because if you do fan art, you are still an artist that does Pokemon related things, and that would definitely like I think Moxie. I know you know Moxie 2D. I think he does stuff like that, and it pays off really well for him as well because it gives you that extra like, oh, I do this, I know about this.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy because like there's the whole, at least for me, the guilt of making reaction videos because like the reaction video I make in 2 hours because I'll have to edit it. I don't do it on stream. So and then I release it and it gets 3 times the amount of views as a normal video, for example. And so I feel like if I release like a reaction video, even though like it's literally my favorite genre, I'm addicted to reaction videos. I don't know why there's the guilt of like releasing them myself. I don't know.
I think everyone kind of gets over that because there was a big stigma against it, and a lot of people don't like that type of content, and it's fine to not like it. But again, a lot of people really, really do like it, and like me and you, maybe I don't know if Toby likes it. Toby hates it or something.
I think that you're all awful.
Yeah, he thinks we're all stealing content
You're
and
lovely.
that we're all terrible people.
I got a point of view on this as well, but I finish what you're saying because I want to hear this.
But it was just a big stigma, which is why I didn't do it for a long time. I was a little bit worried when I did that for the first time as well, and I released my like reaction to Jaden. I was a little bit like, will people be mad at me for doing this? I think it's a really funny video anyway. Like, I don't think I'm stealing it. I think it's still good. And like Jaden commented on the video and she liked it. So I'm like, you know what? If the person making the original content is totally down and okay with you doing it and likes the reaction, then no one else's opinion matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you reacted to one of my videos, I've watched that like multiple times. Like
really,
I like seeing people's opinion on my things. So it's like I mean, like it sucks because you rarely ever like comments. You get kind of desensitized to comments nowadays. Like comments don't do it for you sometimes. You kind of need a live person actually talking about specific things in the video instead of like you rarely get specific comments on individual parts of the video instead of just one big comment on the video.
That's it.
Exactly.
Absolutely right. That's what annoys me. I'm like, sometimes I'll be watching a video and I'll be like, I want to know what someone thinks about this thing that just happened, but I can't find it anywhere. Can I find a reaction video?
Someone did a full video reaction to my first couple episodes of Pokemon Tempest, right? And this is a series, poured my heart and soul into it. I loved making it, and I got all the comments saying, "Oh, I love this Pokemon. I love it. It's really cool." But someone taking the time to do a watch along and comment as they go, "Oh, I liked this. What's Toby thinking? Are we gonna go here? That was the biggest ego boost for me, and the biggest point of validation, just to have someone doing that. And to be honest, even if someone had reacted and they had reacted badly to my content, that would have at least been a hugely motivating thing for me. So I agree with you. I think if you've got the person who made it seal of approval, it's one thing, but I think they get a bad rap, reaction content, because there was, I feel like, was it the Fine Bros or something back in the day? There was a whole controversy, and there was there's a difference between reaction content, which is literally that, it's content around the reaction and it's an art form in and of itself, and then people who just replay the content with their head over the top, not doing anything. And people think that reaction content is that. They think that it is just well, today we're going to be reacting to the video. Play video. That was cool. And that's it. And there's nothing else happening. But it's not. Reaction content is in itself an art form, and it's something that obviously when it's done bad, it should be disliked. But if you're adding something to it and you're giving your opinion, I try and we've obviously just had the latest Pokemon trailers. And the obvious thing to do is, okay, let's do my reaction video before I do any breakdown and analysis. And I don't like doing that because the reaction is very much unless it's really funny and I'm reacting in real time in a really interesting way, it's just going to be that. It's just going to be me watching the video and then going, okay, cool. So I immediately start dissecting the trailer and going, okay, what is interesting that I think no one else will say, and make a video about that as quickly as possible. And that's still reaction content. It's just a little bit more than just, oh, yeah, it's cool, I like it. And I think once you're on that side, you're fine.
Yeah, it's like every genre of content on YouTube or even in the world that you can do it really badly or you can do it really well.
Yeah.
And it's weird that people just lump one style with the really badlies. Everyone's like, oh, this is all really bad, when there's some good stuff out there as well. Maybe you'll like it.
Every popular format exists because it was popular. That's why I personally don't hate on things just because they've become oversaturated. I still even the term Poketuber, in the title. You were the first one of the first to do it, so there's no reason to give you hate on it because of it, just because other people adopted it. You know what I'm saying?
I noticed that when I started doing that and it started performing well, people legit just copied and pasted my title onto their video. And I wasn't even upset. I was like, you know what?
Huge compliment.
Go for it, man. If you think it'll help you, I don't care. That's funny. I think that's funny.
So you know how a lot of publications will sometimes, the big ones will put mistakes into their work, just in case other people copy it. They know where they got the information, if there's a mistake, if there's a specific mistake. For example, Cerebi does that sometimes, and I think he did that unintentionally yesterday, where he said the names of the new legendaries, but he misspelled Miraidon's name. And then I see a bunch of other publications and stuff misspelling Miraidon in the same way.
That's so funny. I was gonna say Joe doesn't make mistakes. Cerebi doesn't make mistakes. What do you mean? That's not true.
I know for a fact there was a mistake from the. Hang on, I think I'm about to say I know for a fact, and then say
you're gonna call Joe out, and he's gonna be upset.
No.
Here it comes.
So I believe Joe told me the story how back in the black and white days there was an error that he fixed really, really quickly that was then picked up by Bulbapedia in terms of they just copy and pasted it over, and then that error is still there on Bulbapedia years later.
What?
But I might be misremembering this story. So Joe, Bulbapedia, I'm sorry, but the point stands. They take a lot of stuff from it's just Joe's hard work, and then they'll be copy paste. And Joe will actually fix the errors as soon as he knows it. He's I'm on it. He's logged in.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? The information's there. Just copy and paste it. I'm gonna use it. Just straight up steal the information.
The only negative thing that came out of like the whole like PokeTuber in the title, for me personally, was that again I'm constantly searching reaction videos. So one of the things I search, like every day I'll search like anime opening reaction videos or like reaction videos to any song or show that I like, right? One of the things I do is just type in PokeTuber, like PokeTuber reaction or something like that, because I want to see people reacting to PokeTubers. But now it's all just PokeTubers reacting to other things that I don't care about.
Oh no, sorry, I ruined that. I apologize.
Yeah. So now I can't like find any like, cause this is kind of like egotistical, but I do search myself a lot. I'll search what people are thinking about PokeTubers.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a good thing. You shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. It's
I do it too. I think it's
Also.
okay to do it sometimes.
It's
It's okay to like delve and you know satiate that little part of yourself that's like, I wonder if people are talking about
exactly
me, kind of thing.
But it depends on your disposition. Like for me, it just really it doesn't help me. It only makes me worry. It only makes me feel bad sometimes. Although yeah, it's not like, you know, majority of the things on me is positive, but like it's just again, you can have 99% positive things on you, and then one negative literally ruins your entire week. So it's just why.
Yeah,
am
I can't
searching
imagine
for
people are saying nasty things about you, Ron. Like, what are they gonna say? His voice is too smooth.
Well, what's annoying to me sometimes is when I find like people talking about me or my content, but they're like talking about like top 10s and like things that I only did like 5 years ago and stuff like that, as if I still do that. And even
I know what you mean.
It's like people like your people's perception of you is sometimes stuck in the past, and it makes you realize that it's like you really can't do anything about
You know when they say first impressions are important?
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's first impression of a YouTuber is the only impression they will ever have.
Yeah, and it's cool when the opposite happens, where like when like any YouTuber, like there's an impression that the internet has, but then they do something to like change that like completely in like a positive way, and then it trumps the first impression.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that people don't think about when it comes to YouTubers, and especially YouTubers, and to be honest, I haven't given it much past this conversation, is that my perception of my channel is that I see the video that I make, and I go through that process, and then I upload, and I do all the tags and everything, and largely after that, it's done. Other people have a completely different relationship to the videos than I do, because they're watching them, not making them. But then on top of that, they are watching them not the moment they come out. Some people are. Some people religiously. Some people every now and again. Some people dipping in and out. Some people subscribe. Some people not. Some people watching only half of the videos, or watching them in a completely incorrect order, or whatever. And it's like, there are, so say there's 30,000 viewers on average. I don't know, 30 to 50,000 viewers on average. The majority of those people have different relationships to the videos than each other. True. So it's not even that I have a different relationship with the videos than my viewers. It's that all my viewers have different relationships to the content, because even that is defined by the content it's surrounded by. Maybe some watch it is me and Loxton, or they watch me and Patterrz, or they, you know, and then that's like a different context that. It's wild. It's just so
everyone's user experience on YouTube is completely different. It's funny you mentioned people like watching videos completely out of order, because like sometimes there'll be someone that will just come into a stream randomly, and I'm just like talking about whatever, like, oh, I'm doing a Nuzlocke, my Pokemon just died, really sad, and then I'll come on and be like, why'd you say that about Sceptile? I'm like, Sceptile? I haven't talked about Sceptile.
I'm sorry, I did that once.
Yeah.
It wasn't
10 years ago.
It's just like, it's because they watched a random video, got like halfway through it, they're like, I can't believe he said that. And they came into the stream like, I need you to answer me now about this thing that happened 6 months ago. What's going on, man?
It's funny because that's the reason I subscribed to Patterrz, because I always end up like in the past I would end up watching like a video of his like a few weeks or like a week after it was released, and I want to like comment, I want to comment or like react to it in real time. So that's why
just message me if you
True,
honestly
true.
This, I would really appreciate that if someone just came out of nowhere and was like, I'm watching this video I uploaded like 3 months ago, and this part was really good. I'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much. That would just feel good for anyone, I feel. You know, it'd be really nice.
It's funny because you are probably the number one YouTuber I see in the comment section of videos that I watch.
I see you on what's his name all the time on Devin Nash's videos. I see you in the comments. I'm like, hey, Patterrz is here.
That's such a niche channel as well, Toby.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know what a Devin Nash is and listening to this.
Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, Ron, you Devin Nash?
I mean, yeah, I've watched a couple of videos.
Cool. Yeah, you know.
Devin Ash is a channel that like gives tips to Twitch streamers and YouTubers, basically.
We technically, how we released this podcast in the beginning was based on a tip from Devin Nash. I mean, not personally, from a video. but
Sure.
But for example, like I'll encounter like Patterrz on like Trash Taste podcast or like
I love Trash Taste. Yeah,
Trash Taste is a huge fan of Trash Taste. And then like I don't know, like the thing is that like just so many different kinds of YouTubers, you know, that have nothing to do with each other. So it's like I think, and you're like one of the few YouTubers I know, or just even like just friends that I know that is like a fan of YouTube in general, I think.
Dude, I love YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time. The reason I comment so much is because, well, two things. Because I watch YouTube videos and I'm like, I have something to say about this. Just because I like the video and I'm like, I want to share my thoughts and stuff like that. And then the other reason is YouTube comment sections, especially on like bigger videos now, are completely inundated with spam bots. It's all spam bots. And I'm like, I want to be at least one person that is not a spam bot in this comment section.
I want to see an uprising in comments on like really old videos. I was doing a research for a video and I was like grabbing the trailer for like X and Y. And I'm like on that YouTube video watching the trailer for X and Y on IGN. And I'm like, when was the last comment on this video? And it's like 2 months ago. And I'm like, imagine just like a little dialogue starting between PokeTuber friends and like the trailers, but then like really old videos, like old hype videos and reveal. I would love that. I'd love to be part of that dialogue.
I did one time go on a video, a Let's Play of the Sun and Moon demo. Remember the Sun and Moon demo?
Yeah.
I commented.
Yeah, actually, oh god, the Sun and Moon demo, Ash Greninja, man.
Oh yeah, and like
you gotta download that before it goes. The eShop next year is gonna get rid of it. You need to download it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gotta get that definitely.
Like remember how like they had like the first route? It was called like 10 Carat Hill, but it wasn't. It had the music too, and it was like a route that doesn't exist in the game, like that you can only go to in the demo, which is so surreal. Like imagine like a route in like a region that I already know every place in like Alola, but then there's this secret route that only exists in the demo. That's so cool, and it's a good looking route too. It looks like a nice, like I like the structure of it. But so I commented on like a Game Boy Luke playthrough of it like 4 years later, and then he commented back. It was very magical because we were both like remembering this demo, because I think it was like towards the end. It was like at the beginning of Gen 8, so we're like, oh, like Gen 7 is already nostalgic nowadays. I mean, I'm also like just a huge fan of Generation 7. I don't know.
Same.
Exactly.
Gen 7's like Marmite.
Yep. I'm the other side of the Marmite.
There it is. Had to be one of yous.
I like Let's Go.
Oh, I mean, I do think Let's Go gets a little bit too much hate.
At the time, it was one of my least favorite games, but then like I can definitely see the merit nowadays. What's funny is, I mean, again, bringing it back to the beginning of the conversation. So the Sword and Shield music tier list that you made, I was watching that in Pokeathon. Like the first Pokeathon that I was at, I was literally just like between segments watching the reaction on my phone, because I was like,
really?
Yeah, and I was actually getting mad. Like I was
you were getting mad. No, that one in particular made a lot of people very upset. Listen, I never claim to be like a smart person when it comes to music. I just know what sounds good in my head, and it's very hard to vocalize what sounds good in your head because I don't know anything about music. I don't know anything about like symphonies or rhythms or why something is supposed to sound good or any of the technical stuff like that. I'm just like, what? This not good. Don't like that. D tier. That's all I got.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. So it's like, I think the number one thing that like offends me, obviously it doesn't really offend me, but in the moment, the thing that offends me most is when you don't remember the music. When you're like, what is, like you're about to react and like you don't know what you're about to react to, even though you've obviously heard it like multiple times. That means like in the game when you're playing it, like, which is the optimal time to listen to the music, you weren't. I don't know what are you doing when you play the video game and you're listening to the music?
I usually do a Nuzlocke the first playthrough of the game, so I'm probably trying not to die, I guess.
Exactly. That's why. Well, just
like certain tracks definitely stick easier than others, right? You know,
yeah,
I actually
absolutely.
couldn't tell you what Marnie's theme is. You mentioned it earlier. I have no idea. But the moment you start making that sound, I'll go, oh yeah, Marnie's theme. But like, I couldn't tell you.
It's
just
like a.
No. Oh, that is D tier. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Okay, I see why you put it in D tier.
There are some tracks like the Slumbering Wild where I'm like, of course I know what that is. That's a brilliant track. Or the Chairman Rose battle theme where I'm like, oh yeah, I know that one because it's really stuck.
Yeah.
Some just stick easier than others, I guess.
But sometimes
Rose
they
theme
stick.
sucks.
Sometimes they stick out not because they're good or anything, just because they're unique. Like
True.
Like Rose's theme is really good. I like it a lot, but it's like it sticks out to people less because it's good, but more just because it's unique and it's like it's like kind of novel. Like you don't have a lot of like epic Dark Souls sounding like boss music in a game.
Yeah.
In Pokemon, but I mean
that was one of my hot takes.
Really.
Yeah, well, I was listening to this and I was like, why does Chairman Rose sound like he's about to call like a cataclysm down? Well, not even
because
that.
He is literally about to call a cataclysm down.
Well, no, he sounds like he is the cataclysm. Like he is literally the devil risen again. And I'm like, dude, he's just like a CEO, man. He's not that big of a deal.
But for example, do you put him down? Do you put him down because of that in the tier list, or
I thought it was completely out of place. I was like, this doesn't fit the person, so I just don't think it was. I just like had a bunch of arbitrary little things I was gonna rate it off of, which probably annoyed people as well. Like I felt the same for Olena because I was like, damn, Olena's theme slaps. Why does she have it? Because it doesn't fit at all. This is weird.
Do you know why now? Because here's my theory. Like because I thought that at least. Because she's so devoted to Rose, she literally shares his theme, like that. Like that's her whole life. She's specifically even in that point, she's the one defending him.
Olena's theme is like a really upbeat one.
Yeah, but it's because it's a Rose's theme. That is Rose's encounter.
Is
theme.
it? I didn't know that they were like the same.
Yeah, so it's literally the same melody as Rose's encounter theme, but like
it's the encounter theme. Okay, it's just the start of it. It was like, oh man, this is really good. But this is the kind of theme that you'd assume someone would play when it's like your bestie. Let's let's have a little fun match.
Yeah, it could have been Bede's theme, I guess, technically, if you think about it. Although Bede's theme
that would have been really good for Bede. Yeah, if that was Bede's theme, I'd be like, damn, 10 out of 10.
But for example, no, I also agree that was also. I think that. There are there's another track that also I had the same opinion on, which is the Storming the Tower. Do you guys remember the Storming the Tower music? That's like a popular song in like Sword and Shield, but it literally does not fit. It's like very like triumphant and happy while you're storming the tower. But while usually in other games, when you're like in the climax of the game of like the plot, like the villain scheme, usually it's more like ominous music or like more sneaky music. But while this one's like protagonists going up the elevator and kicking ass. Like as if there isn't
really
any challenge.
This is what you play after you win, not when you're like going towards the fight.
And like also like Leon's battle theme also was controversial for the same reason, where it's like this sounds it's literally the Hall of Fame music, right? Leon's battle theme, but you are battling the champion. You didn't win yet, so what? Does this mean that this is indicating that you won already? Like it's like
no, I've heard every take under the sun on this because I said that Leon's theme was like this is not a good theme. It's literally the Hall of Fame theme. This is boring. I don't like it. And then people were like, oh, well, actually, thematically, it makes sense because Leon's theme is basically the Hall of Fame theme because it's in the lore, he never loses. So in his own opinion and by the opinions of the audience, he's already won and he's going to keep on winning because he's the winner guy. So he has the theme that's the winner guy. That's, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want a cool theme.
I kind of agree. I mean, I agree with all of the opinions. I guess I can see both sides in Leon's theme at least. Because like also Leon's theme is like, it's both my least favorite and favorite champion battle theme. Because like when I was listening to it, I teared up when the people started chanting and like singing the Hall of Fame theme, because this is music that's been with us since the beginning, and now we have people actually singing it in the game. That's pretty dope. So it was emotional. But then like it's not a theme that I like to listen to, because like it's like the first 3 minutes is like build up of like literally the same melody like over and over again. It's not as cool as like, let's say,
if they played that after you win, that would have been top tier.
But I agree, he literally is the Hall of Fame. Like, he is the Hall of Fame of Galar.
I don't see what makes Leon that much better than all the other champions. He's just another dude. He's just another guy.
I guess they should have generated a different theme.
Is that a segue?
No.
That just happened before my ears, and I didn't even realize. And then
It's like
here we are.
It was as smooth as a brick wall to the face.
Don't you hate it when you make a segue for the next topic, but then you remember something that you wanted to say about the previous topic? So now you have to go back.
Oh no!
Because I actually have.
Put it reverse, boys.
Segue, reverse segue. Oh,
I could have had a perfect segue to what I wanted to say right now. Is like just for the audience. This has nothing to do with like our guests or anything right now, but like the previous episode, 2 episodes ago, or like 3 episodes ago, who cares? We talked about our favorite like music, or just our favorite artists, and literally this week I listened to the new album by Harry Styles. I've never listened to Harry Styles, but I've never listened to One Direction or anything. But this new album, I think everybody should listen to. It's like indie rock, psychedelic rock, pop. It's like the most accessible kind of sound I've ever. Like your parents will love it. You're like, it's definitely popular right now. It's on the charts. Like his single "As It Was." I don't know if you guys have ever heard it.
Was that the sponsor segment?
that felt like the sponsor segment, didn't it? Didn't it feel like that?
Yeah, like before we generated Pokemon, Harry Styles' new album is just and I think.
Because like in the other episodes we talked about like just how an album or an artist is like my favorite when I can listen to an entire album and like a majority of the songs. Because usually you'll like a song, you go to the album, and then you don't really like all the other songs in the album. You only liked that one single that you heard on the radio. But no, this is one of the few ones that I did enjoy the entire album. So I had to mention it because that's now probably in my top 10 favorite albums, which we counted down in the previous episode. So yeah.
And I have to redo it. You have to redo the whole episode now.
I wish.
Done.
I want to talk about music every episode. But now we have to think of a new segue.
That was it. That was the segue.
Ugh.
Why don't we generate a new segue like we generate a Pokemon?
This episode is sponsored by the generation of a new Pokemon. Let's generate a Pokemon.
Are we only generating from new Pokemon, or are we generating
No, any Pokemon.
Any
could be there.
Can we rig it so that we only get a new one?
I wish.
That would be smart marketing. See, this is why we bring you. You're the brains. We're just the looks, which
you
is
just
really
cut the
useless
spit out and just
when we're doing a
pretend like
podcast.
Oh, we got
Cut the spit out, pretend
Sprigatito.
Whoa! Okay, no. Do the legendaries. They're more clickbait. Do the legendaries.
Oh yeah, I'm so stupid. Oh.
Come on, man. Come on, Ron.
Okay, let's actually generate a Pokemon. It'll suck if this is a popular Pokemon, which we are not going to put this Pokemon in the thumbnail. We are going to put like Miraidon or something. We're not putting this Pokemon in the thumbnail. It sucks. Please be unpopular. Oh, okay. Again, another not just below average Pokemon. At least for me, it's still it's average in the mind of people. It's Jumpluff.
Mid.
Oh,
it's a mid
God.
Pokemon.
That's not average.
It's below average for me. It's one of my I used to hate it, but then I kind of warmed up to it.
Super overshadowed by like Meganium, Blossom, and then all the Gen 1
and those aren't even like
Stage 3 grass Pokemon.
Those aren't even super popular Pokemon. It's over. Like I forget Jumpluff exists. Yes,
it's down. I feel like out of Gen 1 and 2, there's Venusaur, Meganium, then there's like Vileplume, Blossom, Victreebel, and Jumpluff, and Victreebel and Jumpluff are really down the bottom of that queue. You know,
Victreebel is sick. As far as like Gold and Silver goes, Jumpluff is the worst grass type that you could possibly get in that video game.
Oh, it's gutting because Hoppip is adorable. I love a good Hoppip but the Evo's not feeling.
What's funny is that
Sunflora.
Yes. I hate Sunflora. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
that would have been worse.
Yeah. It's funny is that I made a video about grass type Pokemon and like the evolution of them, and like Generation 1 grass type Pokemon are basically all like mutated monsters and like a little like weird and like a little like it fits with the theme of Generation 1, which is like I guess genetics, while Generation 2 all the grass types are cute and like relatively forgettable, I guess, because of that, but also like natural looking and round, which is interesting. It's like probably the biggest juxtaposition or like the hardest transition between the style of a type between 2 generations that I can think of.
Yeah, they just give you flowers. That's it.
But I love the duality of grass types personally because of that. I love how you can have like just monsters like Torterra and then like cute little Jumpluffs, I guess.
Like Smoliv.
Smoliv.
Can we just talk about? No, we gotta.
Okay, we are not going to talk about Jumpluff for more than 10 minutes. So let me just get rid of all these Jumpluff facts.
Let's get the
that I have.
Jumpluff out of our system, where it's been pent up for years.
Yeah, I've just been sitting, waiting. Please, someone ask me about Jumpluff. I have so much to say.
Secretly, you have been sitting on this, Patterrz. You were like sitting there. You've got your list of like 5 Pokemon. You were like Jumpluff, Quillfish.
Yeah.
Like Dunsparce, cast form. If people could just ask me and I can just get it out into the world.
I mean, Gen 2 is like the generation of forgettable mons. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Personally, for me,
it really is.
It is. But I mean,
and it's such a small gen as well.
That
It's
makes
like,
sense because Gen 2, like, I think what people forget about Gen 2 is that, no, it doesn't sound, but I think what people forget about Gen 2 is we now think of Pokemon in terms of generations, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's Gen 2, that's Gen 3, and each gen has its own identity. When Gen 2 was made, it wasn't the next generation in a big multimedia franchise that was going to keep going forever. It was the sequel.
It was like an addition.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's new game. It's plus content for the original game. But obviously, retroactively, it is now the second in a chain of what is now 9 generations of Pokemon. But at the time, it was just purely meant to be, here's more of the first thing. And so naturally, there are a couple of designs in there that are quite filler, and obviously a lot of evolutions to past Pokemon, and a lot still tying into that. It was only really by the time Hoenn came out, they were like, all right, this is kind of more of we'll be doing this now forever.
Yeah, this is our life now. We have to just make these until we die.
Yeah, basically.
Which annoys me because, like, you know how, like, nowadays people are a little tired of the trend of, like, the box art legendary is basically part of the climax, and that is basically what the plot is every game. The villains want to get the legendary, whatever. And people always include Generation 3 as part of that, even though it started that. And again, this ties back to the whole, like, not, hating on the thing that started a trend just because it is part of the trend. I don't understand. I don't know why people include Gen 3 as, like, part of that. Hate.
Because Gen 3's, I think it really works for Gen 3.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like 100%.
Yeah, they based the whole plot around it, and then they were just like, oh, Gen 4, we'll just copy and paste.
Gen 5, copy and paste.
Although Gen 4, I think like Masuda's whole intention was, let's do it to the extreme. Let's make this the ultimate Pokemon game. At least that's what he's like said. That's the reason why Generation 4 has all these like mechanics and like features, because like let's just make the most jam-packed generation.
Sure.
And that includes just heightening the stakes of the previous generation, I guess.
It's a natural build-up from like monsters to myths and legend to like world destroying to universe destroying, and it actually makes sense that then Black and White is kind of a reset in that it's just kind of like more down to earth, just classic monster, because you can't go much further up than destroying the universe. It really is.
You really can't raise the stakes any higher than like total universal collapse. Yeah, they peaked a little early, and they were like, "Oh wait, oh god, what do you do now? Truth, ideals, yeah, all right."
What's funny is that truths and ideals, like when that was the theme of the region, I guess like people didn't really understand why truth and ideals were like opposites.
I don't.
So
I'm gonna be honest.
So what's funny is that like I would bring this up in conversations like with friends who aren't even Pokemon fans, because we talk about like politics or whatever, and then I'll be like, oh, one side is about truth and one side is ideals, and they'll be like, what does that mean? Like why are you randomly bringing up this like theme that has nothing to do with anything? But here's the thing: it's like, for example, I guess this is kind of coincides with like the left and right, or like conservatives and liberals or whatever. But like one side is all about ideals. What can be the ideal future? What can be what should be, not what is. What should be the future? While one side is like truths. What is right now? What they want to keep what is right now based on what they think works.
Sure,
there should be a balance between the two, because like you can't just be thinking of what should be without starting off from what is right now. You can't be like, oh, I wish the world was like this, without being more grounded and being like, okay, but we should go to this ideal future from what is right now. We can't just jump to that ideal future. We have to do it based on the rules of whatever's going on right now. And then the other side may take the other side to the extreme, where they'll be like, oh no, this is what is, this is the truth. You can't do anything better. The world can't get better than what it is right now. When no, in reality, yeah, there is truths, but you should always strive for a better world So the same thing is in Black and White, where N is trying to create an ideal world where humans don't train Pokemon, but the truth isn't as black and white as it seems, because humans and Pokemon actually live in harmony, and most Pokemon aren't being abused. But the game even offers the opposite possibility, that N is trying to create a world based on what he believes to be true, that humans are abusing Pokemon, without believing that we can end up in an ideal world where humans and Pokemon can live in harmony. So like Team Plasma isn't balanced. That's the point. Everything is black and white to N, when in reality it's a mixture of the two.
Yeah, you did a very good job explaining that, while like nervously skirting around like actually being political. Like, oh, how do I explain this without actually saying anything about the real world?
It would be easier if I can give examples.
Based on that, I think your politics are definitely beep.
Exactly. Doesn't it suck when, like, even though like I have like a political opinion that I wouldn't mind sharing with everybody, it's like I have to say it in a way that doesn't give it away, even though like I'm not ashamed of my political opinion. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm like very. I'm not gonna do it now, but I'm like usually very political in like my streams and stuff like that, and I have no problem like sharing my opinions. But I understand that not everyone wants to hear that, so I will stay away from it. I got
a political opinion I want to share, which is.
Oh, go ahead.
Ron's
Jump
nervous.
Off should be banned.
Should be banned. No, I don't think Black and White were about what people said Black and White were about. I don't think that the whole Pokemon shouldn't be in Pokeballs. That conversation begins and ends at the first meeting with N. And then the whole they're the dragons of truth and ideals. Okay, sure. But that dialogue, maybe I just skipped it. Maybe I was just mashing A every time I played through. But I just feel like that conversation ended the moment it began, and then it was just like a traditional Pokemon game, which was fine. I didn't mind. It wasn't, but I was just, I find it really odd when people bring up, Black and White are good games. I find it odd when people bring up the reason for them being good games is they tackle that whole thing, you know, should a Pokemon be caught in a Pokemon? I'm like, what are you talking about? They didn't tackle it. They ask the question and then forget about it completely after the first, you know, it's a good game. It's just not for that reason. But maybe I missed the trick. I don't know.
I think it was cool that they used kind of like a morally potentially correct standing in order to push like an evil agenda, which you could say applies to some areas of the real world. I just think it was a little bit more than people were expecting, and it's a little bit more nuanced than what you usually get in a Pokemon game, which is, could destroy the world! I'm the bad guy! Where there's certainly a bad guy, but there's also like, well, maybe they're not totally wrong.
Sure, but then I feel like throughout the game, it's not like we saw like Team Plasma like trying to continue to liberate Pokemon throughout the game. Like, did I miss something? It really feels like it was just that. It also that opening thing.
That also touches on groups that advocate for a certain thing but don't practice it.
Oh.
Yeah, like, people are all like, I don't understand why Team Plasma uses Pokemon. The whole point is that they're hypocrites and they think Pokemon. They're thinking of them as like tools.
It's like they're advocating for ideals, but they have a different truth. We've cracked it. We've cracked it!
We've broken down the story of Gen 5. We've made some real progress today here, boys and girls.
I think so. This will help with everyone's conceptions of real world politics.
And now in Generation 9, we finally have this new theme, which supposedly is like past versus future, I think.
It's motorbikes.
Which is like, you know, progressiveness versus conservatism, I guess.
Perhaps.
Not like, I'm not saying that in like a political way. I'm just saying that it is, you know, because one side will be like, oh, we do this because this is how we do it and we like doing it this way. And then there's going to be the other side, which is, oh, we have modern technology and we should try and push society further and do better than what the previous generations were like, you know?
I'll be honest. Pokemon, and it's great that Pokemon's deep. I do not go into Pokemon for deep real world commentary. For me, Future Dragon, past Dinosaur, that's great. That's super cool. That's all I'm looking for here. It's got some substance. That's totally fun great. As well. But
even on the surface level, it's finally cool to finally have just the whole past versus future aesthetic being represented by legendaries. Like we've always there's a bunch of Fakemon of like past versus future legendaries, and we finally have these designs that I think are unanimously beloved. I don't know. What's your opinion on them, Patterrz?
Super cool.
Oh, dude, I love them. There's a lizard with a jet engine attached to it. Are you kidding me? That thing is so sick. And I'm growing to love the other one as well. Kind of reminds me of the lizard men from Warhammer. It looks really, really, really cool.
I have not seen them, but if they look like
there's someone out there that'll appreciate the Warhammer reference. There always is.
Is Warhammer the one that you physically build?
Yeah,
Yes.
you have the minis, the tabletop minis.
Okay, because I've watched a lot of Henry Cavill interviews,
Oh, dude,
and he talks about
Henry
that.
Cavill. He's like my new favorite human.
Yeah,
Like he's the Witcher. He's like a gamer. He's like yoked to the gills. And it's super handsome. Like what can he possibly? He can't. He's got everything, man. What am I supposed to do?
but it's cool when you find a person that has everything and you're not jealous. You're just like, no, he deserves it. like,
Yeah, you're just like, dude, you're sick. You're cool.
like Toby.
Like Toby.
Guy, what? I'm just there like, yeah, like Jack Black. Like, my head you're well sweet. You're
Yeah.
you guys, no.
Also Jack Black. Yes, definitely.
No, you guys, you're hard workers and you got all the good things as a result. I'm very proud of you and happy for you. Oh, look at us. Isn't it nice?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
We're like the 3 Spider-Men just hanging out together. Spoilers.
That's what we are. Well done, mate. Good job.
The dragons, right? Because we should actually. There's a Pokemon motif that is in this podcast. Generally,
we've probably talked about Pokemon most in this episode than any
we
other.
should definitely
episode.
talk about the new ones. And yeah, the dragons, I think are like my favorite. They're like my favorite box arts since like Groudon and Kyogre. I think they are cool and creative, and I've never seen. I've never seen a Pokemon like either of them. I think that's the really interesting thing about it. Like the feather design on the I don't know which one's which one. Is Miridon? Is that the red
Mirai
one?
means future, so that's the future one.
Oh, so Mirai is the future one. Completely new Pixar eyes like that. That's really cool. And then what's the other one? It's
Koraidon. which is-
Koraidon.
So here's what's funny. So like, Kodai is ancient in Japanese, but it's Koraidon in English, I'm assuming, because
Okay.
they want both of them to have the suffix ride on, because
Yeah.
potentially you ride on them. I don't know. We'll find out.
But I mean, I think you definitely do. They definitely look like motorbikes.
It's a jet engine.
It's a jet engine.
Come
It's-
on, like you're not gonna not ride on it. What do you mean?
Yeah, 100%. But like, the Koraidon, it's got that kind of the feathers, which kind of evokes this imagery of like our modern understanding of dinosaurs with kind of like the reptilian
True.
skin, but also bright feathers. So you got that kind of prehistoric look about it, and then you've got the kind of super futurist. And I don't think there are other Pokemon that kind of. There are Pokemon in the same realms, like Tyrantrum kind of fits with Koraidon, and then with Miraidon, like you could think of like Rotom or Porygon Z or something. But like, there's nothing quite like either of them, which is really nice because when we look at other Pokemon, like you can look at like the pig Pokemon, Lichop, brilliant name. But you're like, okay, we've seen a pig Pokemon before, or Smoliv. It's like, yeah, we've seen a small grass thing before. But like, these legendaries are just so unique. I think they're fantastic.
They did not
Yeah,
drop the
everyone
ball.
keeps saying one of the red one looks like a Monster Hunter
Yeah.
enemy, which I agreed with. Yeah, I think they look awesome, both of them.
I think every new Pokemon is gonna look like something nowadays. That's it. Like, there's
true,
already like
true.
countless creatures from other franchises. But yeah, I think these are the first ones that I like immediately. My opinion was 10 out of 10 for both of them.
Yep.
While I always have something that like, you know, is a little awkward about their design that I don't enjoy, but I still love. Like even like the Sword and Shield dogs. Like, when I first saw them, I wasn't in love with them, but then I slowly fell in love with them after, you know, the story and just like, you know, immersing myself in their lore or whatever, and just their personalities. But again, this is just the first one since like, yeah, Kyogre and Groudon. I think that immediately I loved them. While like I'm thinking of, like, I think I still like Reshiram and Zekrom more, but when I first saw them, I didn't love them as much as I do the new legendaries. So I can't imagine how much I'm going to love them in just once I play the game. They're probably going to be like I bet like Koraidon has a cool personality or something like that. That'll be great.
I'll be honest, I liked Xerneas and Yveltal when I first saw them in the opening trailer.
Okay.
It was a cool opening trailer, but like
Yeah.
Xerneas really got bad for me the moment I caught it in the game and I looked at it in the Pokeball and it was like, what happened to all of these majestical colors and
But they
the
turned
thing
off all
on
the lights.
the box art, and I was like, this sucks. And I just
Yeah.
I don't know why it just completely killed that Pokemon for me. Because on the box art, it's just one of the most magnificent looking Pokemon you've ever set your eyes on. And then the moment you catch it, you're like, yes, I finally got the. What is this?
What happened?
It's like I've been sold a faulty product, you know?
Yeah, listen, energy prices is going up. It's getting really expensive to keep all the lights on Xerneas. We had to, just maybe turn it off every now and then.
But the weird thing is, Yveltal doesn't have that. Like, Xerneas has this
that is weird.
active and inactive, and Yveltal has no counterbalance to that. It's just Yveltal. Super weird.
It's really strange.
I don't like it when they make two legendaries and one is clearly going to be the fan favorite.
I think where Zacian and Zamazenta fell on that front is that they're the same Pokemon. Like, they're too similar in that, like, you might have a favorite, you might not. I think Zacian kind of won out because I guess swords are cooler,
exactly.
but you know,
using a sword is cooler than using a shield. That is the end of the conversation. Zamazenta, if you did a poll right now, it would be like 90% Zacian. Bet you.
They're the same dog. They're the same creature, you know. Whereas I think with Miraidon and Crydon, they complement each other perfectly. They're both cool in different ways. Dinosaurs are cool. Cyberpunk is cool. So that's awesome. And they balance each other perfectly while not being the same thing. They're still different creatures, and I think that's cool.
Now, what about Smoliv? I think that's the smartest name.
I love it.
I love that name. That's you can't think of a better name for Smoliv. I think that's my favorite of the three. Like, what's your favorite of the three average Pokemon, I guess?
I mean, everyone's going wild over Lechonk, and I think it's going to turn over the situation where it's going to be the Snom all over again, where everyone spams memes about it, and then by the time the game actually comes out, you're already like, I'm sick of hearing about this thing. I don't want to see it ever again. So I don't know. I don't really like the Pikachu clone. I have to see what this olive thing evolves into. I could evolve into a straight up bottle of olive oil. Should be nice.
That's the meme. I love the memes with Smoliv, going to Olive Garden or I love those.
It evolves into it just evolves into an Olive Garden. The whole building.
I don't get. I think I don't. I say I don't get the Lechonk love, but it's the name. People love the name, but I don't get it when it comes to the actual Pokemon itself. It's just an average Pokemon to me, which is good. It's
kind of ugly.
I mean, it's a pig.
But I don't know.
It's a pig.
No, I like it. It's got a lot of those character traits that Wooloo has, and it's kind of it's a completely.
It's more of the ugly cute.
Yeah. But it's an orb with big eyes, and it's it's sweet.
He even has the sleep under his eyes and stuff like that. It's oh, you're so gross. Look at you.
Oh, don't you just love a little chubbies, my little
you gross dude.
I actually. There is something special about Smoliv, and I don't know what it is, because I feel like I've seen Smoliv before in the form of Bedu or Petalil or Cottony or whatever, right? But there's something about Smoliv's design that just feels like it's perfect. I don't know what it is. I just love it.
I think it's because, for me personally, it's just we finally have the first a Spanish Pokemon that was revealed for this region. It's the first Mediterranean. Explicitly for this specific region, kind of Pokemon, which I always love seeing. I'm oh, finally have when Alola was coming out, we're all these Hawaiian Pokemon. We're wow, okay, Olay, a thing, whatever. It was more fun when we got that, and now we have an Olive, which has been anticipated since the beginning of time. We're a common fruit. I love also fruit Pokemon. I also love when we get a Pokemon for a thing that people have been thinking about for a long time, like the future and past, like an Olive. Like an apple. I love when we finally had an apple.
People have been thinking about an olive Pokemon for a long time, because I haven't.
Well, because it's such an when you think of a region that it takes place around the Mediterranean, you're
it is. It makes perfect sense. I also just realized this is a grass normal type. Which
I didn't
know
that
until now. Is that the first grass normal type? Because I had no idea it was that.
I'm trying to think.
Wait.
Sawsbuck?
My brain.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Sawsbuck. Yeah, of course you're right.
My brain is live Pokemon theorying. I've got and I'm going to share it because I don't know if this will hit a video or not. You see that's really cool. They did the Pokemon animation recently with in Hisui with Zoroark.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet. I was going to react to a reaction.
Watch it later. React to all of them. To a reaction, but watch it later. There's a I gotta get this out in a video before I put it out here. I'm just gonna knock out a video super quick after this. Okay, so there's a shape so Zorua is the illusion Pokemon, right? And it takes on other shapes. And there is a shape that Zorua tries to take on in this animated special.
Oh yeah.
I've just realised it's the face of this boy. It looks very similar to the face of Smoliv.
I don't.
I gotta get a side-by-side going before I can confirm this. By the time you're listening to this, if you're listening on YouTube, you might be commenting, "You're an idiot." These things I gotta get a side-by-side.
I'll say that right now, Toby. You're an idiot. I think that is not what it's doing, because why would it do a Smoliv?
I'll also
because it's foreshadowing that they love to do.
Foreshadow a scary Pokemon. Why would it transform into a wimpy Pokemon in fear?
Because that's the next one that they're announcing.
It wasn't. It wasn't the first one.
It was.
Oh wait, it was. You're right.
It was the next one that they're announcing.
It was the first Pokemon reveal.
Oh, who's the idiot now? Still me, probably.
Ron.
Still probably me.
No, I'm on your side. I think you're right. Also, this thing weighs 6.5 kilograms, which is ridiculous for one olive oil. One olive.
Well, it's because the olive pit inside it. It's heavy, right?
It's so heavy. Apparently, it's ridiculously heavy.
But then this Pommy guy, I did not know it was the Pikachu clone until like a few hours after the trailer.
Really?
Because I thought, you know what I thought? I thought it was going to be finally a fire electric bear or something like that.
People said bear, and do you know where I think they're getting that from?
From the Honoguma.
From the what?
The beta Cyndaquil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be cute. It's called the mouse again. Why do they always call them mouses?
I don't think Game Freak knows what a mouse is.
Yeah, that's not a mouse. I've seen mices. One was in my house once. I had to chase it out. It took forever. I had to set up an obstacle course. It was great. But that was not a mouse.
I have a story about a mouse in a house. It was actually not in a house. It was in my dad's studio where there was a mouse. And in his studio, he's a photographer, so he has a lot of framed pictures. Literally, it's like fire hazard. They're all on the ground, on the wall. And the mouse, we found a mouse, and it was scurrying behind each frame. And we didn't want to damage the frame, so we wouldn't remove them or anything. So the mouse was settling behind one picture. So my dad picked up the picture, and he picked up the frame, and then slammed it on the mouse like a guillotine.
No!
I was gonna joke about that. I was gonna be like, and then he decapitated it, right? And I didn't think I'd be right. Oh my god!
And that scarred me.
Well, that's one way to do it. Jesus Christ!
No!
You just straight up murdered that. I didn't kill the mouse in my house. I made an obstacle course and I led it toward the exit. It took 2 hours to do. I was very upset.
I mean, it's probably less painful than a mousetrap if you think about it.
I've noticed you have a cat, Patterrz, who keeps appearing in the background of the video side of it. Do they bring in mice?
No, he's an indoor cat. He doesn't go outside.
I thought 90% of cats were indoor cats.
We've always had cats, and we've only ever had one indoor cat. We actually used to just let them out all the time. And my relationship to mice has mostly been oh no, what have they got? Oh no, stop. Oh god, it's running. Oh, it's under a cabinet. Okay, someone deal with the cat. Theo, get the cat. Right, okay. It's a half-hour wrestle. Everything stops.
Yeah, my parents have a cat called Jasper, and we got him years and years and years ago, and he did all of that stuff. He brought in stuff all the time, and you always worry about a cat going outside because cats get hit by cars all the time and it's scary. So I was when I got Leo, I was well, they're an invasive species. They're not supposed to be outside. They're going to bring in dead birds and dead cats. They might get hit by a car, so I'll just keep them inside. I'll just do that.
Yeah, I prefer keeping cats inside. For sure. We've got, where I'm living at the moment, my friend Jake, he has a cat, and the cat is an indoor cat, and it's still quite nervous because it's a new place and new people and all of that. And the other day we've got security cameras, and we saw Jake outside the back garden just kind of pacing, and I said to Dan, hey, look, what's Jake doing in the garden? How weird is that? He's just out there pacing around, and as we're looking at the security camera footage on our phone, we get a ping, guys, the cat got out. Oh no! Who left the window open? Oh no! And it was a whole thing.
That terrifies me. I'm constantly on hyper vigilance because if the cat gets out, I'm if my cat gets out, I don't have a cat anymore. He's just gone. I'll never see him again. And he almost climbed out the second floor bathroom window once.
Oh my god!
So I left it slightly ajar, and he was hanging out of it, sniffing around. And I just grabbed him, and I was I've never had such a heart attack in my life. I thought I was just gonna keel over and die on the spot. It was awful.
What's your cat's name?
Leo.
I love. Well, that makes sense, but I love human names for cats, for like pets in general. That's why I love this Jake. Leo, technically, I guess, can be a human name.
Oh no, Jake's the human.
is.
Jake's the human. Sora is the cat. Actually.
Wait, what?
Jake's
Sora?
the human being. Sora is the cat's name. Yeah.
It's a cat from Kingdom Hearts. Oh,
That's my alarm to upload. Again, it is Route 120.
upload your video. We're doing a podcast here.
Because again, we usually record our podcast later in the day, but when we have a guest or we have some kind of event, we'll do it earlier. Yeah, no
Sorry,
way I
that's
upload
my
now.
fault then. Sorry about that.
Come on, Patterrz. This Jumpluff is literally in my face this whole time, the one that I generated. And I wanted to say this literally in the beginning. But this is a very interesting fact that I don't know how to... I wanted to make a video on this. I'll tell you how I would after I tell you the fact. But basically, so the Jumpluff line, based on their betas, I think the betas revealed kind of what the line is based on, I guess. So, for example, obviously they're like dandelions. They look like dandelions. But specifically, I think they're cat's ear, like, which are these like fake. They're always mistaken for dandelions. Like, you'll pick it up and you're like, oh, it's a dandelion, but it's not a dandelion. It's a cat's ear. It's a completely different plant. And I think the betas kind of revealed that because all of the beta Hoppip line, they have cat ears. They literally do. Like it's only Hoppip has it in the final version. But
That's wild. I'm
Well,
just
it's a
now
pun-
realizing what a cat's ear is. I'm actually looking this up and I'm like, I've never seen. I've
It's also
seen
a pun,
this.
right? Because it's a dandelion, so it's a cat pun.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen these all over the place. That's not a real dandelion? What's a dandelion look like? Dandelion
They look the same.
plant. They look the same. They do. Oh, those little dittos. How dare they?
so I don't know why they took away the ears. If they kept cat's ears for every for even I think Jumpluff would look good with a cat ear. And it would be-
Oh, yeah. They do have cat ears, don't you? That's so smart, man. You know, I need to stop well, I actually don't dunk on designs of Pokemon, really. But people need to stop dunking on designs of Pokemon because they're smarter than you think they are.
For a long time, I wanted to make a video. I don't know how to title it, so it's never made. And also, I don't know of other examples like this, but like video about like beta Pokemon that reveal the true inspiration for their final design. Because there are, I think, other examples of that where like the beta Pokemon is more explicitly the origin. Like, for example, Dunsparce, its beta design is even more clearly based on the Tsuchinoko or the Bachihebi, with the bee snake, this like yokai in that it's like a land snake.
Yokai? I only know a dead video game series called Yokai.
That is crazy. People don't talk about yokai watching.
I
No
remember.
one talks about Yokai.
I remember when Yokai Watch was going to be like the Pokemon killer, and then Temtem was going to be the Pokemon killer, and then it's like, does anyone even talk about those anymore? Like, who's talking
You
about
can't
Temtem?
have a Pokemon killer that's basically exactly the same. And Yokai, they gave up on Yokai. They didn't release. There was a really cool looking Yokai game that they never released outside of Japan. They just completely gave up on that series, which is really, it's really unfortunate because it looks really good.
It looked good. What's
And
funny
there's only like,
I think Sun and Moon was they kind of stepped up their game in Sun and Moon in terms of like the graphics and like the set design because of the 3DS Yokai Watch game. Because like when the 3DS Yokai Watch game came out, we had like X and Y and Omega Ruby coming out around the same time, and it did not look. It looked way worse than the Yokai Watch game. But then Sun and Moon comes out and it looks exactly like the 3DS Yokai Watch games in terms of like the lighting and how they put a lot of attention to details in like the environment in the houses, for example. Like in Yokai Watch, you I guess walk around the town and you go inside houses and it's very detailed. So I always assumed that like Sword and Shield was going to be was going to try to mimic that Yokai Watch like Switch game, or was it a Switch game or the
yeah,
console
it was a
game?
Switch game.
That looked really good, but it didn't. Perhaps, you never know. Maybe or they're probably not thinking about Yokai Watch anymore, and they don't care about competition.
Yeah, no, they don't care. They killed it. They're like, whatever, dude, you're done. I don't have to worry about this anymore.
I think the problem is that they set themselves up for failure when they literally make the game like Pokemon. People misunderstand what the appeal of Pokemon is. Obviously, it's the Pokemon themselves, but it's also the art style of
literally
Pokemon.
the characters.
It's the balance.
It's not anything else. It's not the gameplay. It's not the story. Might be the music. It's just the characters.
If you don't have literally Pokemon, it's not the Pokemon killer is not going to work.
I've got a list on my phone of like the just cool things in media. It's kind of a real hodgepodge list of like, oh, I really love the music from that game.
Ooh,
I really
like
love the humor from like that game. I really like that. And I think about like, okay, so could I mesh these things together and make like perfect video game, or would it be a complete clash that wouldn't work? And I think about like with Pokemon, and I think we all have that idea of, because I've made Fakemon and other people have, like, yourself, I know, Ron. I think about, like, okay, so if I made a game, I made a franchise, and I'm going to be the head of that franchise, like, how does that look, and how is it not just a Pokemon ripoff? And the thing is, like, I think if the goal is creature, capture, collection, it's turn-based roleplay, it's like, just stop. What do you actually like about Pokemon? Is it the creatures? Cool. Have your creatures, give them their own visual identity, put them into a completely new world. What's special about that world? Well, okay, instead of balls, they come from cubes. No, that's not an adjustment. But maybe they're summoned by way of magic portals, or maybe it's like I thought of this. It's probably been done, but I thought of the idea of like rune casters who cast runes, and then that summons a specific kind of creature. But I don't know. Like I'm sure that's
like
probably been
Naruto.
done. Is that in your idea? I don't know.
Have you seen the trailer for Pal World?
Pal World?
Yeah.
Pal World. Yeah. Toby, have you seen it?
Yeah.
No.
So there is a Pokemon-like game. They advertise it as a Pokemon-like game with cool creatures, like you said. It's got those creatures in, and it has like very unique-looking designs. But the cool thing is, they all run around with like assault rifles and miniguns, and they shoot each other.
Yeah. Yes, I have seen this.
It takes place in America, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they just run around and they just like gun each other down, just relentlessly fire rockets and missiles, and that's the gimmick, is they all have guns.
My goodness, that is not what I'm looking for.
I think it was hilarious.
That's sort of the thing, like with I feel like with fictional worlds, and when you look at like the new Pokemon, you can't just like, I want an ice dragon, and I make it and it's a Pokemon, right? Like Smoliv will have been through a million iterations of like, how do we make this creature quintessentially Pokemon, right? What are the Pokemon traits about this? And I think where people struggle is if they want to make like Fakemon, or they want to make like their own world and their own unique thing, like Temtem, is the moment you make a creature that is both cool and edgy enough to be this thing that fights and battles possibly to the death, but also is a companion creature, the design for that naturally links into like a Pokemon. Like I feel like anything, if it's too edgy, it becomes like a monster from Elden Ring or something. But if it's too cute, it becomes I don't know, like it's a kid's thing. It's not really but Pokemon kind of straddles that line perfectly.
You also need to make creatures that feel like they actually belong in the world, rather than look at this cool big tiger we've got. Whoa!
Yeah.
Whereas Pokemon does a really good job of being like, this is in the world, this is why it's in the world, this is what it does, this is how it's evolved, this is how it exists, this is how it interacts with nature and people and society and things like that. And a lot of the other games, it's like, it's a cool thing and it's here, enjoy.
Have you ever seen Kindred Fates?
No, I haven't.
So it's one of the few Pokemon ripoffs, or whatever you want to say. It's not a ripoff. It doesn't play like Pokemon, but it's one of the few where they actually nailed the designs. The designs do look like Pokemon, but the world itself is literally the most boring. Like, it's literally just our world. It looks like our world, but even more boring than our world, I guess. It's like I can't find a game that has the best balance of the world and the creatures. For example, Temtem. The world is unique. It has a unique style, but I think Temtem has, the worst of the creatures, the creature designs. Like, I know from a design aspect, I'll mention why I think the Temtem doesn't have good creatures. But from, like, do you guys, like, when you see Temtem, what is your opinion on the Temtem?
Dude, I don't know what a single Temtem looks like.
Yeah, I know about the platypus one, and that's it. Like,
well,
I'm gonna Google Temtem right now and give you my immediate reaction.
Temtem.
Let's see.
Because the platypus one is the only one that looks like a Pokemon, because that was designed as if it was a Pokemon. But that's why I think Temtem was never gonna, like, succeed, because the creature designs are not the best, and I know why.
No, that makes sense. See that?
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of Temtem right now, and I'm like,
Same.
these are very forgettable. I'm sorry.
What people don't understand about Pokemon evolution is, and that they sometimes don't get it in their Pokemon clone, is that Pokemon designs, when they evolve, it's not just the same design, but literally stretched out and bigger. At least a majority. Obviously, there's exceptions. But a majority of Pokemon, when they evolve, they become a completely new concept that is like a continuation or a manifestation or like completion of the previous design. It's not just like platypus, but bigger platypus. It's like platypus, but now the evolution is like, okay, this one has to do with the poison of a platypus, and it's like a completely different aesthetic, but it's still clearly the evolution.
I was gonna say some of them are just bigger version of the last one, like Grimer and Muck. Is the
okay, no, but that's okay. People always say like, all right, but those are mostly Generation 1 Pokemon. Those are mostly Generation 1 Pokemon. Once they already established the Pokemon as a franchise, let's say Generation 3 onwards, it was rarely ever just the same Pokemon but bigger. Like for example, I don't know, Flygon. Not Flygon. I mean, Flygon is a good example actually, but like, it's not just a bigger Trapinch, it's like a continuation of this whole like metamorphosis. But that's metamorphosis. That's even more extreme. But for example, even think about what's a random.
Well, like Cleavor, for example. Imagine if they had just gone like, here's a bigger green Scyther. You'd be like, oh, that's a bit of a wasted evolution. But Cleavor, it's like, oh, here's a totally new twist on that evolution, And I think
that's what's
really
so special about Pokemon. Each Pokemon is individual, even in the same line. You can love one, but not like the other, and vice versa. Like, I really am trying to think of like a random line. Even like Sfeel to Walrein, okay? Because I have a Sfeel plush next to me. Sfeel to Walrein. It's not just a bigger Sfeel. It's a completely different animal even. It goes from a seal to a walrus, And it's like, that is actually underrated about Pokemon. Most of the time, the evolution is a completely different species, but a similar one. So like even like Slackoth to, again, that's another plush that I have right in front of me. Slackoth to Slacking. It's more gorilla-like. It's not just a bigger sloth,
Did anyone... I'm curious, and it kind of loops back to the new Pokemon, really, is with Miraidon, which is the future one, right?
Yeah.
With Miraidon, did anyone find the design of that a little jarring just because it's like got the pixel eyes and literal jet engines on it? But
I saw the pixel eyes and I was like, ooh, digital type.
It looks like it's meant to be organic, And so there's that kind of...
We don't know. I don't know what it is.
It's an android.
Yeah, I guess. But this is the thing. It's also kind of scary in a where it's from the future kind of way. Oh, it's the future Pokemon. Maybe it's from the future. I don't know. There's that question of like, so is this a man-made Pokemon? Is it a natural evolution? Can Pokemon have LCD screen eyes? I just find that trait. I thought it looked really cool, and I think it works for this Pokemon. But like, I did wonder about that. Like, for the future going forward, there's only so inorganic I think a Pokemon can look and still be a Pokemon, unless its whole thing is like being Porygon, for example.
Again, it's a legendary, so like again, it can have this crazy lore. I mean, we've had a lot of mechanical Pokemon, and like I don't know, Genesect is an example of that. Like, I guess it's really just the digital eyes that you're not
true. Yeah,
like, Silvally has like digital parts. Like I think are its eyes digital? I'm trying to remember. It definitely has like a visorish kind of look.
Yeah, it straight up looks like a cyborg. The next moral dilemma is going to be like, should we be cybernetically augmenting our Pokemon? Is that right to do?
Maybe.
I think they're the same Pokemon, the dragon. I think it's the same Pokemon at different points in time.
But Genesected?
Just called different names. Yeah, I think it's exactly that. If you subscribe to the Genesect Kabutops theory, for example, I just think the past Pokemon is the Kabutops, and this other Pokemon is the Genesect.
I mean, it doesn't have to be Kabutops. It can just be the bug that it originally was. That theory still makes sense.
Yeah, either or. But then, obviously, the middle part to all this, because it's like, oh, but part of future part is the present. So there must be some kind of present Pokemon that kind of goes with that as well, possibly.
Ooh, how did I not realize the trio master is going to be present?
It's the present. It's being in the moment. It's but what does that mean for?
Yeah, what does the present
design?
Look
How does that? Is it just a modern?
What if it's constantly changing? That is what the present is.
Yeah, it's a moment. It's happening. A bit more abstract, but also
a present Pokemon.
Real. Ooh.
The idea of a present Pokemon. That's impossible.
What is the modern age? The big questions we want answers to in our children's games.
Because if you look at it, both of them have both Miraidon and Koraidon have aspects of not just ancient and future, but also like modern. Like we have jet engines nowadays, so that's not specifically future, and also like Miraidon kind of Koraidon, the ancient one, kind of has like this like piratey adventure aesthetic, that's more like Middle Ages, or like Renaissance. That's not ancient, you know what I'm saying? That's not like dinosaur era.
And it kind of looks tribal as well.
It looks tribal,
like quite tribal.
I guess it's just like they're not just past and present. They're anything that isn't the present, basically.
Yeah, anything before now, anything after now.
Exactly, anything before and after now. So what would be now? Because you can't have now. Could be jet engines. Now could be technically feathers. I don't know. Now could be anything.
Now it's going to be that really annoying house architecture, the meme that all the new houses are like weirdly blocky, where like something will like jut out randomly, and then like there's a weird shape at some point. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to have weird shapes.
A McMansion. Now it's going to be like messed up. And now it's going to be disgusting.
Yeah.
And now is the end of the podcast.
Oh no.
Or is it? I don't know. That just felt like a perfect kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's been...
I guess it has to be now.
Go check out Patterrz's channel. Links in the description. Maybe his Twitter too. I don't know, whatever he wants us to link to.
Hey, my Twitter's popping off right now. I made a tweet about Lechonk and it has 170,000 likes.
Whoa, what?
Whoa!
Yeah, I'm not kidding. It actually does. It's kind of insane.
See this tweet. I gotta see this magical tweet.
Yeah, it's I just said Lechonk is the only Pokemon you're legally not allowed to nickname, and it has 170,000 likes.
That's very funny. I liked it. That's funny. I'm gonna show that to my brother. So, bye.
I was gonna say thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you both. I very much enjoyed my time here. Thank you.
Bye.
I also really enjoyed my time here. Thank you for...
Bye.